Hi, my name is Gina. I love animals of all shapes and sizes, but today I'm going to talk to you about tomato frogs. And I have two very special helpers to help today. This is Miss Strudel, and this here is Mr. Biscuit. So the first thing you might notice about these frogs is their bright colors. So we have a bright red frog here, and then a yellow orangey frog. So they are the color of a ripe tomato. So first I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Biscuit. So the reason you have to wear gloves when you're handling frogs is because they have very sensitive skin. It helps them absorb water from their environment, which is super good for them. They keep hydrated. But if there were any harmful chemicals on my hand, that would go straight into his skin as well. So we always want to protect our friends from any chemicals that could hurt them. Tomato frogs are native to Madagascar, which is a large island off the coast of Africa. They're actually endemic to Madagascar, which means they don't occur naturally anywhere else in the world. They're just found there. So frogs are actually found in a lot of different places in the environment. They can be found in water, they can be found in treetops, but these guys here, they're fossorial. And fossorial means that they love to burrow in the dirt under leaf litter to protect themselves. So these guys love making burrows in their enclosure. So now that I've introduced you to Mr. Biscuit, we can move on to Miss Strudel. So this is Miss Strudel. She's actually shedding right now, so there is a little bit of skin that's sloughing off of her, but that's completely normal. Usually they eat it as a snack. So Miss Strudel, there are a couple of differences that you can tell between her and Mr. Biscuit, and that's actually very normal for this species. They are sexually dimorphic, which means there are some obvious differences between male and female frogs. So a couple of them you might notice on your own, but I'll go ahead and point them out. So the first difference is their color. So Strudel here is a much darker red than Mr. Biscuit, who's more of a yellow. Then you might also notice that she is huge. So she's actually 3 times the weight of Mr. Biscuit. So females are a lot bigger and they are more red colored than males are. My favorite difference though is that Mr. Biscuit, especially at night, he'll sing. So male frogs, almost every species, the males will sing. They have very highly developed vocal sacs and vocal cords, and they have special songs that are specific to each species that they will sing to attract females, and they'll even use these songs to establish territories between different male frogs. So he calls at night to attract Miss Strudel, and this helps them identify that they are the same species, and helps identify potential mates in the same area. So frogs are super important to the ecosystem. These guys, I usually feed them insects, but in the wild they'd be eating all types of little arthropods, little invertebrates, like worms, little bugs. Big frogs like Miss Strudel here, they might even eat small rodents or lizards. And then these guys are also meals for animals that are further up on the energy pyramid. So they might be eaten by snakes, by big lizards, by birds, and even maybe other frogs. So they are super important. If these frogs did not exist, then there'd be a lot of hungry predators, and there might be too many bugs, and everything would just be out of balance. It's important to protect frogs because they play such a big role in the ecosystem, and they are at a high risk of extinction. So unfortunately, that very sensitive skin I talked about before, that makes them extra susceptible to disease and pathogens and even pollution that's in the environment that gets soaked up into their skin really easily. Also in developing nations where there's great frog habitat, people have been moving their cities and their farms into that habitat, and that can destroy or make the habitat not so good for the frogs. Thank you so much for letting Mr. Biscuit, Miss Strudel, and I come and teach you about tomato frogs today. I hope you learned a lot and you had fun.